Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Kata Pogorski. I'm the project manager for state project number 172-550, the installation and revision of traffic control signals in District 2. So we have a little map in the background of this title slide here that shows you kind of the limits of District 2. I may call it District 2 or I may call it Eastern Connecticut throughout this presentation. I'm sort of referring to the same region in both ways. I just wanted to draw your attention to our email address here down at the bottom of the slide. You'll be seeing it again a couple other times in this presentation, but this is just a good way to reach us within the next 2 weeks during this comment period, or tonight during the meeting. If you want to reach us, you can contact us there. So just want to draw your attention to that. And now we'll get going into a few housekeeping items. So first, we're going to talk about how to view captions and subtitles in Zoom. So you should have a CC icon at the bottom of your screen in Zoom. If you click that, then you can select speaking language, and then you have a lot of choices, and then you'll get the closed captioning in the language of your choice. So for the meeting overview, we started with housekeeping. We have a few more housekeeping items, and then I'm going to introduce the project team. We'll talk about the purpose of the meeting, and then we'll give an overview of the project, and we'll talk about some of the coordination efforts that we've started and will be continuing as the project continues. We'll talk about potential right-of-way impacts and the process for what that looks like if it's needed. And then we'll talk about project costs and schedule, give you an idea of what the next steps are and the timeline. And at the end, we'll have our Q&A session where you can let us know your questions or comments, and we can respond to them. So there's a couple different ways to reach us during the session. I've already mentioned the email address. Here it is again. It's dot.signalreplacements@ct.gov. You could also call this phone number and leave us a voicemail, 860-594-2020. That's either tonight or anytime within the next 2-week comment period. And we'll be able to retrieve that from the voicemail box and respond to you. Or on Zoom with the Q&A feature, which we'll talk about a little bit more. And then I also just wanted to note for everybody that we do have a project website with this address, DOT Eastern CT 172-550. You can Google that too, and you should be able to find it pretty easily. But it has project information, and it will stay up throughout the life cycle of the project. And just as a note that we have this 2-week comment period, so it'll be open through February 17th. And then just a little bit more information on how to use the Zoom Q&A feature. You should have a Q&A icon somewhere around the perimeter of your Zoom screen. If you click on it, this box will pop up, and then you are welcome to type your question in the box and hit enter, and then we will be able to see it and we can respond to it. And if you are an audio only participant, if you dial *9, that will raise your hand and we can unmute you to ask your question. So this slide is a Civil Rights Title VI slide. It states, no person shall on the basis of race, color, or national origin be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project. So we have a post-meeting survey that you can find at the link shown on the slide. I believe it's also on the website, but we appreciate any feedback we receive on how we can improve these meetings for public involvement. So if you feel like giving us some feedback on the meeting, there's a link for that. And then there's additional civil rights information available using the link for our Title VI website. So This slide is the Title VI notice to the public that says any person who believes she or he has been aggrieved by any unlawful discriminatory practice under Title VI may file a complaint with the Connecticut Department of Transportation. For more information on the Connecticut DOT's Civil Rights Program and the procedures to file a complaint, you can contact the CONDOT Title VI coordinator at 860-594-2169, TRS 711, or email deborah.goss@ct.gov. So this next slide is the Title VI notice posted in Spanish. So I will just give them a quick minute here for people to skim it. Okay, can I have the next slide, please? Thank you. Okay, so to introduce our project team, Matthew Bloom is our Division Chief of Traffic Engineering. Lisa Conroy is the Principal Engineer in our Traffic Signals Unit. Again, my name is Kata Podgorski. I'm the Project Manager for this project. Nicholas Welsh is the Project Engineer. And Elle and Fred are other transportation engineers in our group. And Jack Carlson's here tonight from our right-of-way group. The purpose of this meeting. First, I'm going to give you an introduction to kind of an ongoing signal replacement program that we have here at the DOT. And this is one of the projects that has been spun off from this program. So I'm going to give you an overview of that. And then we'll talk specifically about this project, an overview of this project and its status. We'll obtain some public input, and then we'll respond to any comments or questions. So a high-level overview of this particular project, we have 13 existing signalized intersections that are getting full signal equipment replacements. We have one signal being replaced in Groton, one in Killingworth, one in Ledyard, one in New London, 3 in Norwich, one in Plainfield, one in Preston, one in Stonington, 2 in Wyndham, and 1 in Woodstock. So we're getting a pretty good distribution of towns. We're going to look at these locations in much more detail later in the presentation, but this is just a high-level overview. So this project is what we call a district various project. The state owns and maintains about 2,800 traffic signals, and we have a goal to keep them working in a state of good repair. So we have a lot of data on our existing traffic signal equipment and structures, and we're able to do an assessment as to whether each traffic signal is good, fair, or poor. And you can see our current standing with the state of good repair for our signals. We have, more than half are good. We have a lot of fair, and then we have a couple poor. So we try to focus these projects on improving the situation overall for the traffic signals in our state, our assets, traffic signal assets. And so we use criteria such as age of equipment, all of the support structures that hold up these traffic signal heads are evaluated, so we know the condition of the structures, and if they're in poor condition, they're more likely to be included in a project like this. We have information on maintenance calls or input from our district maintenance staff or from local authorities that share information with us. And we can also look and see the state of the existing hardware and detection equipment to see if it's really outdated and in need of an upgrade, or if we have some kind of old-fashioned pedestrian treatments that could really benefit from being updated. So all of those kind of go into the selection of which traffic signals are included in projects like these. So the purpose and need for these projects is to replace aging signal infrastructure with new signal equipment to achieve a state of good repair. So we have lots of different types of projects that are initiated with the department. Sometimes they're operation projects, sometimes they're safety type projects, sometimes they're corridor projects or interchange projects. But this particular project and this particular work has been selected to replace aging traffic signal equipment. So the improvements that will be incorporated into this project and projects like these are new signal equipment at intersections, pedestrian accommodations, so new sidewalks, new crosswalks, potentially push buttons, pedestrian signal heads. You may see some flashing yellow arrows if there's some protected permitted left turn movements at the intersection. New vehicle detection, so we'll show you some images of what that might look like. Improved access to transit stops, so potentially some bus pads or sidewalk connections to bus pads if there's some transit stops nearby, and then illumination at crosswalks on state roadways as well as transit stops. So here's what some of this equipment could look like. In the bottom right, just want to draw your attention to a mast arm. We prefer to use mast arms, if possible, at various intersections around the state because they do a good job of supporting our equipment and letting us put our detection equipment in a good spot for where it's the most effective. This particular mast arm is painted black. We will paint them black at the request of a town if the town requests it and agrees to maintain the paint color. Otherwise, it'll be kind of a gray color. It's possible too that we might use a span wire intersection, which or support for traffic signal heads, which I think we do have a couple of locations, or at least one location in this project that is proposing to use a span wire due to constraints with the utilities or possibly structures. We also have, this is an example of a flashing yellow arrow signal head. In real life, that yellow would be flashing. We have a pedestrian signal head, so that's what we're talking about when we say pedestrian signal head. And then we have on the top right, this is what it looks like if you open a controller cabinet. There's a lot of hardware in there. It gets outdated very quickly. It's a lot to maintain. So we'll be upgrading all of these intersections with new cabinets and new equipment. We might have some emergency preemption equipment, which will allow fire trucks to kind of hold a green face if they're approaching an intersection to allow them to respond to their emergency a little quicker. And there could be some communications equipment to help these signals talk to each other and stay a little bit more coordinated. So I just want to talk a little bit more about pedestrian accommodations, since those can be some of the most noticeable maybe for when these new traffic signals are replaced. So when I'm talking about pedestrian accommodations, I mean the either installation of new curb ramps and crosswalks or the replacement of existing curb ramps and crosswalks. Here we have a picture of a push button, which you're probably familiar with seeing. And then the pedestrian signal heads, something kind of new with our traffic signal design are the use of blank out signs, and those are to address the potential conflict between right turning vehicles and pedestrians. So the sign would flash no turn on red if there's a pedestrian call, or turning traffic yield to peds if there's a concurrent vehicular and pedestrian phase, but the vehicles should be yielding to peds. That's just to draw attention to the potential presence of pedestrians. So you've been watching a little video of how that works. And then I just wanted to explain what I mean by detection equipment. So there's a 360-degree kind of fisheye camera that is used to to capture detection of vehicles that are located at stop bars at an intersection. And so detection equipment allows the traffic signal to operate a little bit more efficiently. So it can kind of shorten phases if there's less traffic on an approach, or it can skip phases if there's no traffic in a particular lane, like a left turn lane. So this is the equipment that's used to do it. At the moment, this is our standard, these 360-degree cameras. This is not a surveillance camera. This is not recording anybody. It's not a red light running camera. This is what it looks like. And it's just kind of identifying where the traffic is and how much there is and how it's moving. And then down in the bottom, the little white kind of square, that's a radar detector. So that is used for identifying traffic that's approaching the intersection on higher speed approaches. And it gives the opportunity to maybe extend the green phase slightly to avoid kind of getting potentially stuck running a red light. So it's really helpful with that. So that's what that is if you see it kind of out and about. And now I'm going to hand it over to Nick, so he'll talk a little bit more about the specific locations for this project.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nick Welsh with CTDOT. I'm the project engineer for State Project 172-550. I'm going to talk about the 13 full replacement locations in this project. So these locations are going to be getting new mast arms, a new span poles, vehicle detection, pedestrian facilities. So we're going to go one by one through each location in the project. So you can see this is Groton. So the right side of the slide, that's our preliminary concept at this time. The top left, that's a bird's eye view of the location. And the bottom left, that is a street view of the location. So each slide is gonna have the same kind of information on it. And if you take a look at the preliminary concept on the right, so the pink box on the top right corner, that's where our mast arm is proposed. And then the pink line, that's our mast arm. Um, and then the green is the signal heads and the signal faces where they're going to be directed at. The orange, that's where we're proposing sidewalk ramps. The blue is where we're proposing crosswalks. And the red lines, that's if we're pushing stop bars back. And then some of these other plans are going to have blue boxes that are highlighted in like a lighter blue. And those are represented as easements that we're going to be obtaining. So first location, this is in Groton. It's intersection 58-219, Route 27 at River Road. So we're proposing a mast arm foundation on the northeast corner. It's going to be getting all approaches. So no other corners are going to be getting any mast arms. We're proposing pedestrian facilities on the northeast corner and the southeast corner with a crosswalk on the east leg. So the next intersection in this project, it's in Killingworth, intersection 69-201. It's Route 81 at Route 148. So this location, we're proposing 4 mast arm foundations. One's going to be on each corner. They're going to serve one approach each. We're proposing pedestrian facilities on the northwest corner and the northeast corner. There's going to be a crosswalk on the north leg. And on the northwest corner, there's that blue box that I was talking about. That's an easement that we're obtaining, and that's going to be to remove the existing span pole that's out there. Next location in this project is in Ledyard, intersection 71 225, Route 2 westbound ramps at Fox Tower Drive and drive to lot number 8. So this intersection, we're proposing a one mast arm on the northeast corner and two mast arms on the southwest corner. And at this time, we are not proposing any pedestrian facilities to be installed at this location. So moving on to New London, this is intersection 94 231. It's a state route 641 at State Street, Broad Street, and Winthrop Boulevard. So this intersection is actually getting split into two separate intersections. So it's going to be operating the north intersection is going to get its own controller cabinet. The south intersection will get its own as well. They'll still operate together. We got a request from district maintenance, just easier for them to maintain. So the southerly intersection, that's going to be getting two mast arms. One's on the southwest corner, one's on the northeast corner. Basically mimics the existing layout right now. We're proposing to obtain some easements. That's really just for sidewalk installation, just to give our contractors a little bit more room to construct some ADA compliant sidewalk ramps. So then moving on to the northerly intersection, we have a mast arm on the northwest corner, southwest corner, and northeast corner. And those blue boxes, those are for mast arm installation and sidewalk ramp installation, and we'll be doing that through some traffic easements. And then each of these intersections will be getting crosswalks on all legs and pedestrian facilities on every corner. So we have three intersections in Norwich. The first one, it's intersection 103 232, Route 82 at Old Salem Road and Thomas Mahan School Road. So this intersection, we are proposing mast arm on every corner. It's going to serve its respective approach. We're going to be proposing crosswalks on all legs, pedestrian facilities on every corner. And at the southeast corner, we're going to be pursuing an easement to install that mast arm on the southeast corner. Next intersection in Norwich, it's intersection 103 251, Route 2 and 32 at Route 32 and Route 82. So this intersection, we are proposing to install a span pole that's going to be connecting to the existing utility pole. So the span pole is going to be installed on the southwest corner, and the utility pole that's existing is on the northeast corner. So we're really just mimicking the existing layout right now. We're going to be shifting a stop bar back on the west leg, and we're going to be maintaining the existing crossings, so one on each leg, and each corner will be getting new pedestrian facilities. So the last intersection in Norwich, intersection 103 269, State Route 642 at Fitchville Road. So this intersection, we're proposing two mast arms. One's going to be installed on the southwest corner. One's going to be installed on the southeast corner. We're going to be pushing some stop bars back on the south leg and the west leg. And we're going to be proposing new pedestrian facilities on the southwest and potentially northwest corner at this time. So we're moving on to Plainfield now, intersection 108 211, Route 14 at the I-395 northbound ramps and Squaw Rock Road. So this is a double intersection. The western part of the intersection is gonna have a mast arm installed on the north side of the intersection. One's gonna be on the south side of the intersection. And on the eastern portion of the location, we're proposing a mast arm on the northwest corner and the southeast corner. And at this time, we're proposing one crossing on Squaw Rock Road. And so we're at that intersection, we're going to be having new pedestrian facilities on the northeast and the northwest corner at this time. So moving on to Preston, intersection 113 211, Route 2 at Route 164. This intersection, we're proposing a mast arm on the northwest corner, and the southwest corner, and the southeast corner, with a crosswalk on the west leg and new pedestrian facilities on the northwest and the southwest corner. So moving on to Stonington, intersection 137 230, Route 1 at Pawcatuck Shopping Center. So this intersection is just getting one mast arm. It's going to be on the northwest corner. That mast arm is going to serve all approaches. And then we're pushing a stop bar back on the north leg. And on the east leg, we're going to be proposing a crosswalk, kind of maintains the existing crossing, and new pedestrian facilities on the northeast corner and the southeast corner as well. So this project has two locations in Wyndham. The first one is intersection 163 205, Route 66 at Route 66 and Route 32, the West Junction. So this intersection, it's getting a mast arm installed on the east leg, the southeast corner, um, the west corner as well, and the southern part of Route 66. So those mast arms are going to serve each uh each road, and then we're proposing a crosswalk on the south leg and the east leg. So Route 66 and then Route 32 on the east. And then we're also proposing a new sidewalk network to connect into the existing sidewalk network, kind of around that gas station on the left. And we are going to be pursuing an easement in order to install that sidewalk network to connect to the existing. And then the eastern part of the intersection, we're proposing a crosswalk. So pedestrian facilities will be installed on the northeast, southeast corner. And then that south leg crosswalk I mentioned, that's going to be getting new pedestrian facilities as well. So the last intersection in Wyndham is intersection 163 216, Route 32 at the Route 6 eastbound ramps. So this intersection, we're proposing a mast arm in the northwest corner and the southeast corner. And at this time, we're not proposing pedestrian facilities to be installed. So the last intersection in the project, this is in Woodstock, intersection 169 203, Route 169 at Route 171 and Stonebridge Road. So this intersection, we're proposing a mast arm on the northwest corner and the northeast corner, as well as the southwest corner. We may be pursuing an easement on the southwest corner to give our contractor a little bit more room to install that mast arm foundation. We're also installing a crosswalk on the west leg, which means that pedestrian facilities will be installed on the northwest and the southwest corner as well. So now I'm going to hand it back over to Kata to talk about some project coordination.
Okay, hi again. I'll just give you an overview of the project coordination, some of which has been done already. We've already notified town officials of the improvements that are planned and the locations in this project. That was done last summer. Letters were sent to the chief elected official, and the local traffic authorities were also included on that correspondence. So those are the folks we do a lot of our coordination with at each town. We also sent requests for design considerations, kind of been going back and forth via email with the local traffic authorities for these towns to kind of coordinate design preferences and thoughts about any kind of local considerations. So some of our next steps as we kind of wrap up preliminary design here are to do more coordination with the utility companies. So we'll have a virtual utility meeting, which is it's a big one for the locations throughout all these different towns with a lot of different utilities, and that just kind of gives an overview to everybody of what's happening. And then we follow up that big meeting with individual field meetings with the local officials and the utility companies that are relevant for each location. So that's a good opportunity to kind of take another look in the field with some additional folks there. And then this virtual public utility meeting is part of this coordination process. And we've got kind of 2 weeks after this meeting to go back and forth with you a little bit, take some public input. But you're always welcome to contact your local traffic authority really at any time during the project life cycle, or really if you have any issue in your town related to traffic or transportation, they're a good resource for you to check in with. So now just to talk a little bit about potential right-of-way impacts. So you saw in some of those concept plans, some of the areas that we are anticipating may be impacted, and they can be impacted in different ways. Like, for example, if there's an existing structure that is actually on private property now and needs to be removed, we would pursue an easement to do that removal, but there's no permanent structure that would be there after completion of the project. So that's one type of easement, a construction easement. There may be an easement for more permanent facilities, whether that could just be sidewalk, even if there's just existing sidewalk that happens to be outside the right of way, and we want to reconstruct it to make it ADA compliant. That's kind of the scenario in some locations. And then in some locations, we may need a little bit of an easement to construct a mast arm, or possibly put a controller or a pedestal or push button, something like that. So those areas are pretty limited to the corners of properties. We're not going to be impacting any homes, any structures. And we really do our best to try to stay within the right of way wherever possible and avoid impacting property owners. So Jack is here to talk about the right of way process, if there is an easement needed that we determine as we progress.
Thank you, Kata. Next slide, please. So good evening. My name is Jack Carlson. I'm a project coordinator with the department's Division of Rights of Way. Our office is responsible for acquiring the property rights needed for transportation projects. As Kata mentioned, this project will require the acquisition of property rights, so I'd like to give a brief overview of our acquisition process. Within our division, we have multiple different types of agents. We have our administration agents, project coordinators such as myself. We have our title searchers who are responsible for searching the land records to confirm property ownership, as well as determine if there's any encumbrances or anything that could prevent from the acquisition of the property. We have our licensed appraisers who will provide a cost estimate and will value properties if necessary. We have our acquisition agents who are negotiators. They may produce a simple estimate of compensation, and they will be the negotiators if there are any acquisitions on for a property. And we also have our title closing agents who are responsible for preparing the closing documents such as the deed, requesting a Mylar, and then recording those on the land records and providing payment to property owners. So any required property rights will be acquired in accordance with the Connecticut General Statutes, Section 13A 73 and 13A 98E, as well as the Federal Uniform Act. Additionally, the specific right-of-way impacts are still being finalized and may change as the project design progresses. Next slide, please. So the right-of-way acquisition process begins once the project design has progressed to a development milestone and all the impacts have been determined. At this point, each affected property owner will receive from our office a formal letter of intent to acquire, what we call our initial letter, along with a property map which will depict the specific property rights being acquired. As you can see on the right side of the screen, property map will depict any specific property rights being acquired and the parcel they're being acquired from. Next, our office will determine the fair market value of those property rights, which will be used to establish an offer of just compensation. That offer will be sent out to the property owner in writing, and a rights of way agent, one of our negotiators, will be available to meet with the property owner to explain the project, go over the specific impacts to their property, and explain the department's offer. The property owner will then have a reasonable amount of time, typically 30 days, to consider the department's offer and enter negotiations. When agreement is reached, the department will then prepare all of the necessary paperwork to record the deed and property map on the town land records. However, if an agreement is unable to be reached, in order to keep the project on schedule, the department will acquire the necessary property rights through its power of eminent domain. In that event, the state files a notice of condemnation in the Superior Court along with a monetary deposit in the amount of the department's initial offer. The affected property owner would then have 6 months from that date to file an appeal if they felt the department's offer was inadequate. Whether or not the property owner chooses to appeal, the money deposited in the court is available to be withdrawn by the owner. It is important to note that the department will only acquire property rights that are needed for the project. If there are any questions regarding the right-of-way acquisition process, I'm happy to answer them after the presentation. And with that, I'll hand it back to Kata. Thank you.
Hello again. So just gonna give a brief overview of costs and schedule. This project is 100% state funded, and the estimated budget at the moment is 16.7 million. Our design schedule, we've completed preliminary engineering, and then we're kind of wrapping up preliminary design now. Our final design plans are anticipated to be completed next March, so March 2027. And then the advertising date for the project would be next May. And then the beginning of physical construction would be expected to start in the spring of 2028. And then construction for these types of projects usually goes for 2 construction seasons, so it would wrap up fall of 2029. So the next steps are to kind of advance into final design and incorporate feedback that we get tonight and within the next couple of weeks, and continue to coordinate with the towns individually. Also to kind of finalize the right-of-way needs as we go and coordinate with utility companies to help finalize the proposed locations for some of these appurtenances. So now that completes the information part of the presentation, and we're ready for the Q&A session. So again, we've got the email that we're able to access, and we'll be checking tonight and within the next couple of weeks, and we'll be responding. Phone, if you want to leave a voicemail, phone number is 860-594-2020, and then you could also just type a question into the chat and we can respond to you live. And of course, our project webpage is still available. And just a reminder that the comment period is open through February 17th. So I'll now hand it over to Fred to see if anything's going on.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Kata. My name is Fred Orley. I'm a transportation engineer here at CTDOT. I'm going to go ahead and repost some of the links in case anyone would like to click on the link rather than type it in. That's a link to our webpage. Now I'm going to post our email. So as Kata was saying, there's a 2-week comment period after this, so it's open until February 17th. It's very important that when you submit a comment or a question to us, you mention the project number, which is 01720550. That allows our team to get the question to the right people and respond to you in a timely manner. So far, I'm not seeing any questions come in. Again, you can use the Q&A function through Zoom. If you have a question for us, we're happy to answer them now. While we wait for more questions to come in, I'm going to post a survey link. If everyone could fill out this survey, it's really helpful. We have a public informations team, and they go through these surveys to help improve these meetings that we do for the public. So if everyone could do that, that would be very beneficial to us. I'm just going to allow a few more moments for questions to come in. Check the email again. Amy says, thank you for the presentation. It was very informative. Thank you, Amy. We're doing our best. I'm going to quickly turn off my video and my audio, and I'm going to check our voicemail. I'll be right back if anyone has a question. Okay, one just came in. Goulet asks, regarding the intersection of 103-232, I'm a project engineer working on a potential widening of Route 82 and reconstruction of Old Salem Road. Who can we coordinate with? We are still in a conceptual stage. I will go ahead and direct that question to Kata.
Oh, here I am again. Great. Maybe Elle, if you could scroll back to that location just so we could all kind of look at it together. That is good to know. So you're in the early concept stages. Feel free to, you can email our DOT signal replacements email address, and then we can kind of connect everybody who needs to be on any email chains with whatever needs to be coordinated moving forward. But if there are plans to widen, then we can try to anticipate where the best places are to place our structures so that when the road is widened, they won't need to be moved. It'll be out of the way. This is kind of a big intersection already. So it'll be important to kind of get some concept plans and get an idea of what the plan is. So if we can get the ball rolling if you kind of share your information through our email, and we can go from there and discuss with I'm not sure if you're with the town or if a consultant but we can proceed from there. So thank you for letting us know.
Thank you, Kata. I checked the voicemail box during that, and I wasn't able to see anything in there. So I'm just going to allow a few more moments for any questions to come in. Again, there's a 2-week period through February 17th where you can contact us by email or by the phone number on the screen. That's 860-594-2020 for anyone who might not be able to see the screen. Our email is dotsignalreplacements@ct.gov. All right, I'm going to quickly check the voicemail one more time. I'm going to turn off my video and my audio while I check that. All right, we still have no new voicemails. I will check the email one more time. Nothing new in the email either. Nothing on Q&A. So with that, I would like to thank everyone for attending tonight's webinar. Again, you can contact us at dotsignalreplacements@ct.gov or by phone at 860-594-2020. The comment period is open through February 17th. Thank you for attending. Good night.